Excellent. So thank you all very, very much for coming along today. I've asked Vanessa Thomas from Synced to come along because what I'm seeing a lot of in the Viva virtual assistant type world is VAs jumping in headfirst into naming their business without really thinking about the whys, the hows, and all that sort of stuff. So there's actually quite a few things to consider. And I actually, there was somebody at a presentation thing I saw on the weekend who was saying to people, look, if you're feeling stuck and you don't know what the first thing is to start your business, just grab a name, jump into it and go. And I love this person that was saying that. I actually think she's amazing, but I disagree. And I know my way and Vanessa's way is harder. But it's going to save you a lot in terms of marketing costs and rebranding down the road. So as I said before, and so Kirsty said that she disagrees with it too, and Kirsty's been in business for about 100 years, is it now, Kirsty? So I'd go with that, 101.
Nice.
Excellent. So Synced is a marketing design company, and I met Vanessa probably about 5 years ago, I think. Yeah, and through BNI, and we've done quite a bit of work together. And we're on the same page, which is why I've got to come in here, because I obviously don't want to speak if he disagrees with me. And and we're all about making sure that your brand connects with your avatar, and we'll go into that in a little bit. So Vanessa knows her stuff. She's created some awesome brands, as you can see on the screen. Synced is beautifully branded as well. And today the focus is all about what your business name says about you. So I'm going to handle over now to Vanessa to get cracking, and we can just use these to move forward with the PowerPoint. So forward would be the forward button.
Oh, that's the forward button. Thank you.
I think so anyway.
Thank you, Rosie, for inviting me over to do my very first webinar. And sorry, so hello everyone. Please be gentle. This is my very first webinar, so I'm probably cacking in my boots at the moment, but hopefully I don't blunder too much as we go along. So just a little bit, as sort of Rosie mentioned, just a little bit about who is Synced. So we are a traditional graphic design studio. We have introduced marketing as part of one of our core offerings. I opened the business in 2010. So I've got 15 years worth of experience, but I've obviously been in business for 5 years. Love every minute of it. I love the challenges, the variety of work that we do. We now have 3 permanent staff members and 2 mascot dogs who give me grey hairs, on top of our 2 little children and third one on the way. And
we'll finish off the grey hairs.
Yes. Finish off the grey hairs and no more babies, and that's it.
It's glitter, not grey hair.
Grey hairs, I like that. And we are a home-based business. We do have a virtual office in the city, but we are based in Mill Park, but we service all of Melbourne. So that is just a very, very brief rundown of what we do. But I guess as we're talking about naming, the whole point, most people sort of see these type of graphs or this analogy of an iceberg where all we see when we see an iceberg is the very tip of it. But as we all know, the brand is a far bigger, or the iceberg is a far bigger object that is all hidden under the surface. But what we really, everyone talks about the brand and everyone talks about the logo, but really we need to have a top level, which basically is your name comes first. It is the first. As well as seeing your logo, it is the first time a business comes in contact with you or your business and needs to know that they're in good hands. So your naming is just as important as your logo, and in actual fact, both of them relate to one another and complement each other. So I personally feel that this should have an extra tier. Maybe it's a little flag that has your name on there. Maybe I could redesign it.
Oh, would you get to do that?
Oh, maybe somebody else. But there are a couple of things that you do probably need to sort of consider when you are naming your business. There are sort of 2 schools of thought. I'm not a business coach, so I'm not going to profess to coaching anyone in business, but there are 2 schools of thoughts of who is the brand. Is it yourself or is it a business? So, for example, I know a lot of practitioners who market their business under their name. So, it will be Marcus Dog .com.au because that's their name and it's all about their IP, their experience, their information. They have no intentions of growing their business other than having themselves and maybe a virtual assistant, but it is all about them. There are pros and cons with having either you as the brand or the business as the brand. With you being the brand, the chances are of you selling your business to somebody else is very rare because it is all tied up with your good self. Versus a business where it isn't about you, it is about the business. You can have staff, you can sell it. It becomes an asset that is worth probably not to say more than the you brand, but it gives you the opportunity to sell your business. So that is one thing you probably need to consider if you haven't already got a name, what direction you want to go down. So that's just, as I said, I'm not a business coach, but these are just two sort of main titles.
And can I just say that with virtual assistants, a lot of them get into the trap of if they are named for themselves, and they want to be subcontracting or have more people on their team, people can't see past that name.
That's right.
And they want to work with the person who was named on the business.
And that's exactly right. So, and that's the limitations of that component. And so I've given an example of myself here. When I started my world of design many moons ago, when I was freelancing at university, I called my business Van Moore Creations, and that was based on Vanessa, V-A-N, and my maiden name at the time, Morganella. Now, this is very much wrapped up in me. This was Vanessa through and through. All of my friends and colleagues and whoever freelanced me knew me as Van Moore. They even nicknamed me as Van Moore. I was no longer Vanessa, it was all about me. And then when I started the business, I thought, look, I wanted to take away the association with it being all about me because I didn't want to be the face all the time. My aim is to step back from the business, have some amazing staff. So I then, I'll go into a bit later, but we just developed the name Synced to have that disassociation with me. So as I said, we now have staff, we've got freelancers. One day I might sell the business, and it has its own entity of itself. So I made that conscious decision to remove myself from the business name. So just sort of going back, I've worked for a number of different agencies before I started my own business. Now, naming is a very hard thing to do. It's not something that you can just pull out of thin air, although some people do. It's not something that you can go onto these wacky sort of quirky names.com.au and, pull out a name from some random search engine. You can do that. I wouldn't recommend it because there are no bearing associated to your business. But a very well-known agency that I worked for, and this guy was one of the, the guns of my time. So it shows my years.
So it was like a year ago.
Yeah. So quite a few years ago when I first started. In his world, when I was at uni, I was trained by there were 5 big guns, and each of them had their own business name. So my boss was called Brian Sagrove. His business was called Sagrove Design Partners. There was another bloke who was called Ken Cato. His business name is Cato Designs. So it was all about them, but that came from the time when advertising was very much you had your business name. So Brian, whenever we were given a huge contract from one of our clients, and it surprised me because I was still new, I was learning the ropes on how he approached a naming project, and literally he just got the Latin Oxford Dictionary, flipped through some really interesting words and just said, yep, we're going to go with this. And I went, oh, okay. And, at a young, impressionable age, I thought that that's what you did.
Genius.
And, and this is a very big, well-known agency that did that. So
and that could work as an element,
yes,
but not necessarily
as the main thing.
The only thing.
That's right. Because we have, and as I said, we do go through an example of when we have gone to a dictionary to sort of get different words. So I'm not ruling that out as an option, but don't just use it as the sole purpose. Have it as maybe something to add to your repertoire. Another agency that I work for, again, another well-known agency, they, over 15 years experience, we blocked out a whole day to do a naming project for a client. And it came about as a bit of a mind map process where we thought of if it was a property company and they were specialising in nature, well, we sort of went down the train of thought, well, it was a tree. What do we relate to a tree? Well, it could be a birch tree, it could be an elm tree, it could be a willow tree. Is the bark soft? Is it hard? Is it, brown? Is it mossy? So we did a big exploratory thing. And then in the end, we put some words together, threw it into a hat, and came up with a couple of random suggestions. And, in the end, I think we called it birchwood properties or something like that.
Wow.
So, again, that's one way. A mind map can help, and it's a good way to get all of those sort of initial ideas out on paper to clear your head and maybe make some connections. But again, it's a long process, and again, this is a very big agency that
they're missing one important factor, aren't they?
Yeah, missing one very important factor. So there are just two examples of agencies where I've had direct experience with on the naming process. So it's no mean feat to get your name right or wrong. It's a very difficult task. So I've got 7 little tips that can help with naming your business.
Sorry, all the VAs are having a heart attack about that grammar. Yeah.
It is too. So spelling's not my strong suit, ladies. I'm so sorry. That's why I actually have a VA.
She's terrible at
I didn't give it to her to Jess. Oh God, how did I miss that? Anyway,
sorry. Did you hear the audible gasp?
I know. So we've got tip number 1, which is don't be local specific. Now, unless you have a huge demographic that you can get a really successful business in that one area with truckloads of clients that that's going to sustain you for years to come, by all means, call yourself Eltham's best VA. But if you have any intentions of operating in another suburb or in a different area, please don't be location specific, because not only is it going to kill your SEO and you're going to have a heart attack, it just limits your prospects. And then what do you then become? Coburg's best VA, Northcote's best VA. It just opens up a world of pain. So yes, I know there is a school of thought to own Melbourne's best VA. Now Melbourne might be big enough, but if you've got ambitions of being Australia-wide and have clients in Sydney, that again has limited your pool of clients that you can get. So that's just one tip that I've found over the years.
And it might be too that with this particular industry, obviously we don't want people focusing on location.
No, that's right.
So in some other industries that may work very well. If it's trades, for example, tradies can only go so far.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So I specifically tailored for, because obviously we're talking to the lovely VAs here today. So yes, that was just a tip that I felt would work for you guys.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. Wherever possible, keep it short, sharp and sweet. The good old, KISS. Yeah. Keep it simple, stupid. I think that's the term. Yeah. It also helps with memory recall. It's easy to type into your search engine. Yeah, just keep it as simple as possible. There are going to be times when you can't, but just a general rule of thumb, if you can, that's always recommended.
Some people want to encompass a lot of information in their business name. Yes. What would be your tip? I'm doing the whole asking. I know what the answer is, but what would be your tip if they want in that first impression for more of a broad topic to be clear?
Yep. What we do is we keep, wherever possible, keep the name simple, and for that you develop a killer tagline which accompanies your logo and on all your collateral to help identify and qualify what your business name is. For example, and as I said, I will go into Sync stuff. Sync on its own, you don't know what it is, but when I get to the end of the slide, you will see what synced means and where it came about. So definitely the tagline is important, and that helps to get that extra information over to your target audience.
Yep, beautiful.
Make it a unique name. Now this may or may not be necessary in all instances, because having a conventional name, especially when there are a lot of virtual assistants out in the industry, it might be a bit difficult for you to stand out from the crowd. So if there is a way to differentiate yourself just that little bit, that makes you different from another virtual assistant offering very similar services, having that unique name might just give you the edge. It's not always, as I said, the winner, but it could be the deciding factor on why someone might come to you versus someone else. So as I said, these are just tips, whether they apply to you guys or not. I just thought I'd put them in. Now, this is probably there are a couple here that are fairly big ones. So tip number 4, can you actually have your name? It's all good and well having a great name that you spent hours thinking about and, pondering on, yep, this is so ideal for what I do for my business. But if you can't register it on the Australian Business Register website, there's no point going any further.
Imagine if you had this big plan, you're going to do a restaurant, you're like, I've decided. I reckon McDonald's would be the best name. Let's get our brand together. Then you go on the APR and you go, oh.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. Yeah. So we've done a few naming processes, and that is our first point of contact. Whenever we come up with a name, there's no point exploring whether we can do tip number 5, which will be coming up soon. If we know we can't actually get the business name, there's just no point.
Yep.
So please check if your name is available. So I've just got a link to the ABR website there for you. Next one is, can you get the URL? Now, as I said, once you've registered your business name, the best thing to do is to secure your URL. Now, I use, obviously, the wonderful team at Webtastic Designs for all of my URL searching, and I did kind of break their domain name searching on one of our clients while we were naming and searching for them. But bless them, they helped us out in the tight jam.
We're happy to help.
But I guess this is where I wanted to sort of point out, this is where you get the opportunity to decide whether you want to be a .com, a .com.au, a .net, all the different variations of what you can get. Then there's also the opportunity, if budget's permitting, and if you are, you're so in love with your name that you want to secure any other variations of that name to make sure no competitors can get your name or something similar to it and then hurt your business. I think a couple of years ago there was something in the paper that there was someone who got a very similar name to a very big, well-known.
I know one story. There was iStock Photos, and Fotolia bought iStockPhoto.com, right? And look, I could have that back to front in terms of who had the S and who didn't. And look, that can happen, but at the same time, if you are trademarked, which is something that Vanessa can talk about in a minute, that might help. So iStock Photos, obviously, it's complained about it because it was the same sort of industry. They were taking their lead, blah, blah, blah. So it had to stop, but it can happen, and I'm sure damage would have been done.
Yes, most definitely. So that's where, if you've got the funds to actually secure the different variations, I would recommend it. It just gives you that peace of mind that, if something ever happens, you own that domain name and it's yours. And it just sort of future-proofs your business a little bit down the track. You may not also be able to get your exact business name, so that's something that you need to consider too. You might find that you have to alter your name just that little bit to, get it as close to your business name as possible, because there might be something in the market that's very similar. So that's just something to be very mindful of. Tip number 6 is your business name trademarked. So this is where, as Rosie said, you need to be very careful that you might have a name, you might have it's great that it's free on the business registration, it's free to have to access it on a domain site, but if it's similar or it infringes on any other type of registered copyright, you're going to be hit up against the brick wall. We've actually run through this problem with one of our new clients. With one of our clients, she's had the business name for many years. Somebody else went and trademarked the same name. Because they own the trademark, our client can't operate using their business. And they've been in business for almost 20 years. They just didn't take the next step to register it and trademark it. So consequently, my client now has to go through a rename, re-registering, domain name, rebrand. Yes, it's good for us. But it's a very expensive process that fortunately there's not going to be too much in the way of their branding change, because they're able to still take some elements across, but they can't operate under their existing business name. I mean, how devastating. You've had a business for 20 years and now all of a sudden, because someone's registered or trademarked that name, you can't get it.
So it's worth getting it, because Monique was just saying, how do you know? And if you go to IP Australia, so just look that up. Is it ipaustralia.com or .gov? I can do a quick search over here if anyone wants to have a quick look. IP Australia. Because if you start doing trademark searches, you will get people who will offer to do the trademark for you. So I want you to have the right one. ipaustralia.gov.au, and you can search for existing trademarks and you can apply for a trademark. There are certain things that you can't trademark. So if it's a common phrase, for example, you won't be able to trademark it, but it's definitely worth having a look at. So there's a few people in this room that I can remember that, yeah, she's hilarious. She's a wordsmith. So Vanessa just noticed your little comment about being in sync, Mon.
I'm very proud, because that's going to be, I think, one of the next few comments I'll be coming up to on my slides.
Nice. So, yeah, typo. We're in sync, yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, what was I saying? You just totally distract me. Oh no, the business names that some of you guys have are unique enough but possibly, you know, popular enough. So Interim, for example, is Kirsty's Interim Business Solutions. I'd want to trademark that, and I'm guessing that she has. Don't assume that because your name is so unique, like a virtual copywriting monster, don't assume that that's going to keep you safe. It's worth doing. It takes a while to do, so get cracking on it. It's not expensive to be trademarked in Australia. Virtually Yours was trademarked in Australia like right after, I started 11 years ago, so I got onto it straight away. And there's no way I can actually register that worldwide, because I would never have the funds to do that. And I would never legally be able to enforce it anyway. So I do get people contacting me every now and then saying, have you seen this site? Have you seen this business? And it'll be Virtually Yours. It'll be either in a different industry or a different country, and I don't have any say in that yet. So when you're trademarked, there are restrictions about that. So Nicole Bradley, are you for real? She's got there, just for people listening in, I have all sorts of dramas battling against Virgin Australia. Is that a joke? No. Oh my God, explain yourself. And welcome, Hayley. VA Australia and Virgin Australia. Oh, wow. But it's a different industry. Okay, so you wouldn't have any issue with trademarking it for your industry, but for SEO and web searches, yes you would have. Definitely. That's all right, Hayley. Yeah, you would. And that's something important for you. Wouldn't have even thought of that. Yes. Yeah. So when you're thinking about your Google searches and whatnot, one of the first things I do is I check ABR. Yep. So Australian Business Register, and I Google it to see what's coming up. Yeah. Because obviously I've helped quite a few VAs with their business names and stuff like that when they come to me for coaching, and you want to know what's coming up for that name, what the competition's like. Exactly. And you can do SEO reporting, so looking at your keywords and how popular they are, so how much competition you've got with those names, and how many people are putting those words into Google. And also we find that, you know, when we do our Google Analytics, what people are searching, which really is interesting from our point of view, because there are hundreds of graphic designers. So it's really interesting to see what people will key in to actually get to our site. So it is really bizarre. There'll be these random things, and because you've got the dog mascots on there exactly, too, that's right. Get some really weird ones. We had one that was looking for my sister's name, which is Belinda, but Belinda Burger. And they got to our site because one of our freelancers, her ambition is to find the best burger in Melbourne. It's just so random, but, you know, they got there. So. Well, when you've got a business name called Virtually Yours, you can imagine some of the interesting search. And tip number 7 is have a name that is meaning and it conveys a benefit to your target audience. So, you know, wherever possible, it's great. Like, I mean, this is me showing my lack of technology. Google, I don't believe, means something, or it could be a measure of something. I'm not quite sure. I don't know.
But, you know, we now have turned Google into a noun, you know, let's just Google it. But when someone came up with
or is it a verb?
Yeah, I've got no idea.
These girls will know. Hang on. Oh, yes. So, well, I'll touch on that in a bit, Monique. It's a verb. Good.
Oh, there we go. Beautiful. There we go. So
I'm all over it.
See, I'm not into, I don't understand this. I'm
She's not into grammar or technology.
No. So wherever possible, you know, if you can put some meaning to it, it's going to resonate with your target audience as well as yourself. And will we help with memory recall as well?
It's so important. It is so important. And sometimes your name's just not going to cut that. There was a new VA who contacted me just recently, great person. She said, this is the name I've decided. And I said, what does it mean? And she told me, what did she say? It was something to do with her own name and where she'd come from or whatever. And I said, well, that's probably, you know, is your target market you? Yeah. Because if your target market's you, then rock on. That's great.
That's right.
But if they're not you, I'm guessing you don't want to pay yourself. That's not really going to work. So, and you can have a really cool name that's about you. I mean, I could be virtually Dexter. I mean, Dexter's my nickname. You've seen that on there. And people go, what the hell? Are you murdering people in, you know, as a hobby?
Nice.
And I got Dexter before that damn movie came out, okay? So I was murdering him well before that movie. No. It was here's an age thing. It was a perfect match.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm Point Dexter.
Nice.
I introduced two of my siblings to they're now husband and wife.
Nice. Beautiful.
So anyway. Oh, good, Nicole. So you're with me. Great.
Perfect match. That's it. So what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about is how we came about with the name Synced. Now, I actually didn't name the business because what I felt was I was too close to the business. So actually a colleague of mine came up with a number of different names, and when he mentioned the word synced, it just resonated because I then developed the tagline, which was design and marketing that's in sync with your business. And that's where Nicole?
Yeah.
A bit earlier on mentioned that.
Oh, Monique. No, I'm in sync with you.
That I'm in sync with you. And that is, we honestly, our tagline has become our philosophy and our way of life in the studio, that we truly aim to be in sync with our clients' businesses. And it actually warms our heart when we get our clients echoing back to us our tagline, saying, wow, you really are in sync. So
that's nice.
So that's what we believe. As I'm saying, the whole idea of, yes, we spelt it a little bit quirky to have that slight uniqueness.
Is that why that is?
That's why that is. Just to get that little bit of difference.
I thought you were allergic to vowel.
No. We probably
we're both grammatic.
Yeah, it probably would save the telephone phone calls if I did spell it correctly. But a lot of our clients actually get it down pat, and even the newer generation who've never heard
that's
of us
how
before.
They would spell it.
That's true, and that's what I'm saying. So we sort of also try to capture the next demographic, but also we're finding that many times when I go, you know, Vanessa at sync.com.au, you know, they go, oh, SYNKD, oh my God, you know, or they when they read it, they actually know how to say it. So it's taken 5 years, but people are getting it, which is kind of nice. But where the qualifier, as we mentioned earlier, is yes, sync doesn't say much, but the design and marketing that's in sync with your business, the tagline helps to reinforce what we are all about. So that's just and as I said, we didn't do this. We were too close to the business name. Because as I said, naming is very hard. If it's about yourself, it's very personal, and trying to step away from it is quite difficult.
So, and a lot of you guys know that, you know, with writing for yourself, if you do copy, building your own brand logo, if you do marketing or web development, I mean, creating our own websites is just a nightmare. It's so much rather create somebody else.
Definitely.
But you all know what that's like. And imagine if someone came to you, I mean, a lot of people here who would, you know, if they said, can you create a business plan for me? And you'd sit there and go, okay, what do you want to do? What do you blah, blah, and you'd ask all these questions. But then if someone says, all right, where's your business plan? You'd be going, blah, 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 because it's too hard. Because, you're too close.
Too close. And that's it. I mean, I was saying to Rosie, I designed, obviously, our succinct logo. It took me far too long, and my husband sort of said, just pick something and just roll with it.
I really like it.
But I was saying to Rose earlier on that I've also got my own personal brand, because eventually, you know, I'll be a superstar rock star and, you know, do lots more of these webinars, hopefully.
Testimonials, please.
Yeah. And I actually got one of our designers to design me a Vanessa Thomas logo, and I love it. I know.
I want to see
I know. I will send it to you.
Yay.
I know that if I had done it, one, it wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have one as of yet. It's always something I'll put off, and I'll never be happy with it. But what she did was just beautiful. So I now make it a bit of a rule of thumb. I don't design our own stuff. I get someone else to do it.
Great idea. Yeah.
So this is case study number 1. This is a wonderful lady called Lynnsay Prunotto. She's a holistic architect located in Alton. She chose not, like most architects, not to go down the branding of her to being not to be the brand, because most architects are themselves. They are, you know, she could have been Prunotto Architects. So she took that step of being, you know, having a name for a business. And she needed a name to best represent her style of architecture, which is all about the connectivity with the land and the flow, and everything had to have a reason for being there in the building. And she designed her own home, and it's absolutely exquisite. You know, everything is just millimetre perfect as well. It's beautiful. So we came up with a series of names for her. We did have a bit of a brief from her. So she was all about how nature and the environment work together in harmony and balance, and, you know, it was intertwining with the building and its surroundings. And it's all about, you know, our home being a nest, a haven, a dwelling. Now, this was one process that actually took quite a while, because we have now since developed a process as to make our life a little bit easier when it does come with naming. But this was done quite a few years ago now. And we did the mind mapping thing. We did all the brain dump, and we went down the nest. We looked at, for example, nest is, I think, an Italian word for nest, and we did go down the Latin road. But what we found, and again, we had suggested names on the left-hand side. We looked at what the domain name would be, and we showed her what was available, either a .com.au or just the .com.au, or you could get both. So she found that none of these were really clicking with her and with her target audience. So we then went through quite a big process to try and get another round of words and names that connected with her. So again, we looked at Nido is Italian for nest, Loom represents light. She was all about, so Aurea is a derived word, Latin for gold, which she was very much about the golden circle, or the golden section, or I know it as the Fibonacci sequence, where the nautilus shell, you know, it's all perfect formation, and it all then grows on each other.
Continually forever and ever.
And it's all proportionate, it's all harmonious. So we said we did another mind map, and these were the sort of the words and the thought processes we were going down. And we then produced another series of business names. We got the URLs, and of course the .coms and the .au. Fortunately, we were able to find something in here that she loved. And further ado,
that's the one I picked.
There you go. So Loom Architecture worked for her, because it was all about the light, the movement, the connecting with the earth. The logo itself, what is a nautilus shell, but it's also light. It has that sort of sequential golden arc, or the Fibonacci sequence, but it's still strong and bold, that she can compete with the man world, but it's also feminine and delicate as she is. So, but that was a very long process, and a very time-consuming process to do it two times. You know, if there was nothing there, we'd have to do it a third time.
Yeah.
So, as I said, it's not easy, and since then we thought there's got to be a better way. So case study number 2, which is going to be right up all of your ladies' alley, happens to be...
It does take patience, Monique. It's a full-on gig.
It is. It's massive.
Rebecca! I was talking to her this morning.
Really?
Yes.
Of course, you guys have her site. Yeah, so Rebecca...
I trained her.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
why she's awesome. Yeah.
There we go. So Rebecca is a client of ours. She's a virtual assistant. She needed a logo, and she already had a business name at the time when we met her, and she was very reluctant to change it, because what we also find is when you create your name, you tend to get a bit protective about it.
I remember now. I sent
Yes.
her to you because she was one of the ones who told me a business name, and I said, okay, I'm going to chat to
Yes,
Vanessa.
that's right. So her name was Busy Bee's virtual assistant. So she was very married to it. She didn't really want to sort of change her name. So it came to us that she wanted a logo. We have developed a workshop called the Avatar Workshop, and basically this workshop tells you or extracts from your brain as much information as possible from your ideal client and your ideal customer. This is really relevant to people who have been in business for a little while, because they've got a fantastic, thorough understanding of who their ideal clients are. Rebecca didn't have any clients, but it actually works so beautifully for her because it helps set her up from the start. And as we were going through the questions, you saw her light up because you saw her go, oh my God, these, we found out that, you know, the type of client she wanted to target was her background. She worked for a gastroenterologist, so she wanted to be a virtual assistant for the gastroenterologist division. So you needed to actually think differently when you came to these people. So we actually realised after walking through the process, she quickly identified Busy Bee virtual assistant is not going to work with them.
Yeah.
You know, these gastroenterologists have a slight godlike complex.
Because Busy Bees could work for someone else.
It could, completely.
There's nothing wrong with
that at all.
Yeah.
It's just we found out who she wanted to target, that business name was not going to work with them. And even down to calling herself a virtual assistant was not going to work. Because these guys, very male-dominated industry, very much, well, we're in charge. As I said, they do have a godlike feeling or a way of doing things. We actually said, well, you're no longer a virtual assistant, you're an administrative consultant. And that actually, as crazy as it sounds, elevated her to a slightly different level. And as I said, it's just words. And she's still offering amazing virtual assistant services, but in their mind, she's not just a VA, which is stupid to think that way. But, you know, she's an administrative consultant. She can come in, she can take care of my needs, and then that's it. So we also found through the Avatar Workshop the type of language that they responded to, the type of, I guess, what their needs are, where they live, what they need, you know, what all those sort of types of things that we found that when we were looking for a new business name, that if she was to compete in this world, she needed to have a strong name. So a lot of the words we were coming up with were about sort of that Greek goddess type of scenario, shield, giving her an armor, giving her a shield to go into battle when I'm not subordinate to you, I'm here to, you know, provide you with a service. We come in, we do the job, and we're out. So, you know, they don't want hitchhikers. They want someone to go in that's confident and all that. So we were able to pinpoint a few different types of names and the reasons why we went down these paths for her. And we were on a roll. And this is the job that we kind of broke Webtastic Design's site for, because we had quite a few names that we went through. So sorry to Greg. and as I said, because we had so many names, because we knew what they were needed to talk about or who we had to talk to, there was just so many different names. And then that's when we realized, oh no, we can't have that name that's been registered, we can't do this because the URL is not available, blah 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 blah. So we ended up going for Athena. So yes, so Athena Consultancy was her business name in the end. We also gave her a tagline, which was the Virtual Administration Services for Optimum Performance, because it is all about performance driven. It's not lovey-dovey. It's go in, do the job, and get out. It's a male industry, so we tailored the design of the logo to attract males. That we developed the little spiky things as sort of a crown for the Greek goddess Athena of war. So it's sharp, it's not gentle, it's not soft. We rounded the fonts a little bit because Rebecca's beautiful. She's not, an aggressive person. So we tried to sort of marry up between who she needs to be in their eyes, but also give her, a little bit
pride
of a pride.
Yeah.
So she absolutely loved her brand, and we loved working on it. So from there, again, from the avatar workshop, we got a feel for what type of imagery would be necessary for her website, for her collateral, for everything else. Because, she's a warrior, she's going to come in, she's going to help these guys, and I want Athena Consultancy at my side because I know I'm going to get stuff done. So he was a bit of a mood board of the type of gastroenterologists that we believe would be her target audience. And from there, she purchased about 4 or 5 of them that we've used throughout. Her website's still currently under work, but we've done a brochure for her.
And those colours too are nice and consistent.
Exactly.
With her brand.
That's exactly right. And then we produced business cards for her, so keeping it nice and simple with all of her details, no nonsense, but then adding that beautiful blue splash of colour on the back. As I said, it's going to attract her target audience. It's strong, it's powerful, and it all relates back to what she does, why we've done it. As I said, you've got the connection back to her tagline to, link it back to what she does. So as I said, we've got her as the administrative consultant. It's all of that thought process has come from that avatar workshop to help clarify who you need to be talking to and why your name is so important, and how then that dictates your logo and how it dictates your, the business cards. We produced then a flyer as well. So again,
that was good.
Simple stuff, but it will resonate with her target audience.
See, how professional does that look? And you can just see them relating to that. And there's no way she would have just come up with that on her own.
And as I'm saying, so knowing who her target audience is, in this instant, Busy Bee virtual assistant was not going to work.
It would never work.
No. So I think
the Busy Bee might relate better to some mums or with kids or people who are just a different. I don't know. I see with Busy Bees, you want your target market to be people who are really fast, switched on, proactive, who just feel excited by that wording. Some people would feel terrified by that wording and run a mile.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go.
So there we go. Come to my end of my presentation. Hopefully you've got some information out of there that's been useful, and hopefully I didn't ramble on too fast. As I said, I've never done one before, so hopefully it's okay.
Any specific questions? And can I ask you guys just to pop your business names into the chat bar for Vanessa to have a look at? See, Hannah said you were great.
Oh, thank you, Hannah.
She's so nice. I'm not happy though. I've already rebranded. I don't want to do it.
Well, see, that's just it, and it becomes a costly experience to rebrand.
Monique, no, Monique, your brand is beautiful. Thank you very much. Hey, I learnt from the master. Okay. So I've got Front Foot Solutions, keeping you one step ahead.
Oh,
I
nice.
love that.
That's nice.
I love that. And Hayley, you're stalking me, aren't you? I love it. The Virtual Copywriting Monster. Admin Star Virtual Assistant. Yes, your logo rocks. I'll show you my next logo. It's really cool. I have shown it to you before. I ran it past her before I sent it to you. VA Australia obviously doesn't want to rebrand, but that's interesting because you might be able to tweak more than completely rebrand.
Well, see, and that's it. And a lot of the thing is that when you do have a brand out there, you obviously have some sort of loyalty as well. So I wouldn't be, if you've just rebrand, please don't rebrand because you're going to confuse your market. If you can stretch it for a year or two and then go, right, you know what, it's lived its life, let's go ahead and rebrand, because it is a costly exercise. I'm not going to say it's not. But yeah, it's sort of wherever possible, if you want to refresh, that might help, just give it that little bit of a lift, or just think, all right, maybe in 1 or 2 years' time, I know I need to go and do that rebrand. That's when I'm going to do it.
Or you can even start that process, start looking at how you can slowly direct your business towards that overhaul that you do
That's right.
down the track.
Yes.
So you've got Hannah's is Q Administration Solutions. So, you know, obviously that directive there within the name. Tagline. Yeah, Monique, I thought we could have a chat with Vanessa about yours as a little bit of a case study. Might be interesting, actually, because it's quite wordy. But, yeah, any other questions there? Has anyone here had their business name trademarked? Branding images done by Verve. Okay, cool. No.
Verve, wow. I hate to
Yeah,
think how
they're
much.
expensive.
I hate to think how much they charge me for the photos. Look, don't get me wrong, the photos are amazing. We've got some Verve photos on our wall and breathtaking, but
have you seen our ones?
Are they
Yeah, because Verve, she won it at AVAC.
Nice.
So I won my ones at AVAC too, Nicole. I don't know if you saw just recently on Facebook, I posted just some of the photos that I got from them, and we had to sell our firstborn to pay for those, but they were worth it. So it's awkward though because she's in the photos. So you know.
You can't really sell it. Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to seeing that because they do an amazing job.
Yeah.
Hannah, trademarked here. My URL is shortened to Q the Solution. I like that.
Yeah.
But that business name was not available, unfortunately. With Q the Solution, with the business name that somebody else took, is it the same industry or different? Because I just want to be careful there. It's a question for Hannah.
It's a good name.
Yeah. It's a directive within the...
Yeah, that's it. And I guess that's a classic example of what I said, that, you know, yes, you might be able to get the business name, but you may not be able to get the URL. So that's a perfect example of the URL being shortened.
Yeah.
So you can get something close to your business name.
Yeah. It can be a bit of a juggling act.
It is.
And then it's all about educating your market.
Oh, completely, yeah.
The solution was the issue. How ironic. The solution was the issue.
Oh, no. Love it.
So, and look, you know, I'm not sure if people that listen to the recording can see any of the chat, but Hannah's just saying that she's shortened her URL to qthesolution.com.au from Q Administrative Solution. Q, was it Administrative Solution? Let me just go back up a bit to make sure I'm saying it right. Yeah, Administrative Solutions. But that business name, Q the Solution, was not available. And she couldn't find that name as registered. So a name that might be a URL that's already taken doesn't necessarily have to be registered.
No.
But if you grab that business name, you could probably still trademark it and run under it. Hang on. Oh, I'm getting confused which way it goes. So couldn't even find that business name as registered. So Q the Solution wasn't available.
You see the VA Australia, the chances are that Virgin Australia have that URL.
Yeah. No, so yeah, VA Australia, they would have
that,
even though it's not a website that's being used last time I checked. You can do a domain, a whois search.
That's
so
right.
if you just look up whois and go through the process of checking who owns the particular domain name, it can teach you a lot about who's owning what and where things are going. Oh, there you go. That's annoying. And then I wonder if they're having trouble with Virgin as well. So Q the Solution was not available business name. Okay, I'll probably, if it's not there as another one, I'd probably call them up and ask.
Just see,
Yeah, no harm. Yeah, Monique, I understand that. Monique's is long, so it gives her writer's cramp when she's filling out a form. Monique, we can give you an abbreviated version of it with that still points to that site. The good thing about your one, URL being long, is it includes your what are the words? The words, important words, keywords. So Monster, I don't know if monster.com.au is available. We can check, but monsterdocuments.com.au still goes to the other side. So you can, on forms, you can put www.monsterdocuments.com.au and it'll still send them to your site, and you'll still benefit from the SEO of the longer URL.
And there was a point, I'm not sure who mentioned it beforehand, but Twitter and Facebook, that also, yes, that
you want to check those.
For example, I couldn't get synced on its own because there is a business in Austria, I think, or somewhere in Germany who has, synced. So we're Sync Design, which is a bit of a bum. But
I couldn't get virtually yours.
That's right. So, the more channels that are opening up, as soon as you can get your name on them, get them.
And I use VYVA for a lot of mine. It just keeps it nice and short. And I want people to be referring to virtually yours as Viva. Viva la Viva. So it's funny when people don't. So, you can work in with that. But if you've got multiple domains, you use on your site, the hosting account that you connect to the main domain is the domain that has as many of your keywords in it as possible. And that's just for SEO purposes. But, you can still use shortened ones to direct people to that site when you're doing your marketing. So that's always worth thinking. I just bought my hubby's URL and bought 3 of them so nobody could take similar names. He would have no idea though. So that's Nicole just said that. And that's it. You want to be getting the similar ones or commonly misspelt.
Yes, that's true.
So it's a big deal. And
it is.
So you've got the avatar workshops. Can you tell us a bit more about that? Because I'm always talking to VAs about avatars.
So, as I said, we run an avatar workshop, and that's a one-on-one, about a 2-hour session with either myself and my husband, Jamie, but normally it is with Jamie because he's the marketing
You can listen to his accent.
Yes, so he's got a nice English accent, which I just sort of sit there and listen to, but anyway. I've been married now for almost 10 years, so I still enjoy listening to it.
It's really cute.
It's a list of, it's a lot of, it's a very full-on workshop because it is unpacking your brain. We help guide you through the steps. Now, we are planning on turning it into an online session where you don't get that, Jamie will maybe have some little videos of explainers, but where we are adding value is you actually get to have Jamie's brain there. And, what we find is, for example, we did an avatar workshop with a recent client of ours who we've identified they print on leather goods and they wanted to target the fashion industry.
Not vegans.
No, not vegans, no. So as we were going through the whole process, we identified that where her ideal avatar lives, or her ideal client, they live on Instagram. And we said to her, just a simple thing, says, do you have an Instagram account? She said, no. And we said to her, please get yourself an Instagram account. She did the next day. 2 days later, they secured themselves a huge, massive gig. And since we worked with them, 3 other massive gigs. They were at the Spring Fashion Week. They did a joint venture with another fashion designer where they printed the goods and turned it into a jacket. Just from that one simple little thing where we knew where they lived, get your face there, get your business there, speak to their language. There's no point you spending thousands of dollars on marketing and design collateral if your target audience isn't there. So yes, a lot of people tend to freak out because what we try and get you to do is focus on the most lucrative market and one particular market. It's not to say you can't target other people, but what we find is we've done it for ourselves. We have multiple avatars. One of our avatars is councils. We have secured a position on 7 council panels, and that was just me being so laser focused that these are the people we want to go for, and we've got them. We're now starting to look at the corporate market, so we've got a new avatar, and we're going to speak to them. So what we find is by being specific, you actually open yourself up to more opportunities for that, rather than taking on every single person. They're probably not going to be the best client. They're probably not going to pay. They're probably going to, drag your feet. And you're spending too much time with them versus the people who are actually going to give you the money, who want to work with you, who are high paid, love you.
That's it. Tweak it every time someone comes in. Yeah. I find that because Vanessa and I have done a lot of avatar stuff together, And look, they're already saying when are you going to run the workshop through Viva, and yeah, we'll get onto that.
We'll have to sort that out.
I think we'll have to sort that out. And you guys have heard me go on about avatars all the time. Okay, I don't shut up about avatars. Stella's my avatar.
She is that.
All right. So Stella's my avatar. She's on my book. She's in my website. Everything. She's there to remind me who my avatar is. And I know a lot about Stella.
Yep.
And I have a lot of VAs who go, yeah, but if I just write for Stella, what about Betty over here?
You'll probably capture Betty.
Betty will come in if she's right.
That's right.
You know, so, but once you've got that avatar, you can go to people like your web designer, your your copywriter, your marketer, your social marketing, everything. When you're creating your products, you're packaging your products, it's all easier because you're doing it for that one person. You want that one person to go, my God, this is awesome. And then those people will come.
Well, that's exactly what we did with Athena Consultancy.
Yeah.
We designed specifically for her gastroenterologist, and it's resonating with them. That's what they do. We've just finished doing another avatar workshop for a general insurance broker, and the amount of comments that, because we did the avatar workshop, we did the logo, we've done the collateral. Every time he hands a business card over to his clients, they go, oh my God, this is amazing, this is so cool. It's because they're the target audience that he's trying to get. They're just on board, and you know they just love it.
Yeah.
So he's got that instant credibility, that instant trust. They want his stuff, and they just sign up.
And ideally, you actually don't want your branding to resonate with someone you don't want to work with.
That's exactly right. Like you've got Stella, our council avatar. Her name's Miranda. I know Miranda inside out, upside down. Her favourite colour, and this is a little bit sneaky, and I only do it if I know because she does exist. Miranda is actually a client of ours, and all of her pain points are exactly the same for all of our other council pain points. But I know, for example, Miranda's favourite colour is jade. If I know she's got a huge deadline, that she's the decision maker and she's up against the wall, I will design a design that has jade in it so it can get across the line sooner for her. As manipulative as that is, I know that's what she needs.
Yeah.
I give it to her and her job is done, and she's, it's like, oh, great, that's one thing I don't have to worry about. It's all sorted.
She leaves their pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the other big thing. So we've hit just about 1 o'clock. So if you've got any more questions, pop them up there. Have you got any more slides there with your contact details?
Thank you.
Okay, so Synced is synkd.com.au, so you can check Vanessa out there. Her darling husband is also referenced in the Vavavoom book, because these guys are pretty switched on. And yeah, if you want to send a testimony because Vanessa wants to be famous, then send it. What's your email address?
Vanessa at synced.com.au.
Yeah, beautiful. And that would be great. And even just a testimonial for the webinar, I'm happy for. If you're feeling, like you've just been creative with testimonials today, throw them around. But thank you all for coming. I hope you found that useful. And we've got this as a recording if you do feel like you need to listen to it again. But we are here available to answer any questions anytime you want to send them through. And we'll look at developing an avatar workshop for Viva members, something that would be maybe part of our training series. We can do a group face-to-face one, which would be so much fun. I would absolutely love that. So thank you all. Get back to work. We're all very, very busy, so stop slacking off, and I will speak to you all soon. I better stop recording.
Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.